Welcome back, everybody, to the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise. As today, our Pirates set to kick off June here. A lot of things to go over, starting the episode off with a pretty big trade, then the MLB draft, and then a game. So first, here's a look at the league-wide standings. Our Pirates currently sitting at 27-32, which is fourth in the NL Central. Cubs are still worse than us, believe it or not. We are currently 8.5 games back of the second wild card, which is currently a tie between the Marlins and the Braves. I don't know how the Marlins are still doing this well 2 months into the season. Credit to them. And they may be looking to acquire some good players at the deadline to potentially make a playoff run. Even though they have the worst roster on paper in the National League, they're playing really good baseball, which is extremely hard to believe. So last episode I mentioned the possibility of potentially acquiring Dylan Carlson, an outfield prospect from the Cardinals, and I think it makes sense for both sides. The Cardinals can try to get better now, and the Pirates get a prospect. The Cardinals are set in the outfield. Jason Dominguez, Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill, and a few other prospects are this team's future. So this is a two-part, three-team deal, and it involves the Orioles and Trey Mancini. Mancini's gotten off to a great start this year, hitting .320, 12 home runs, but he's 28, and he's out of the Orioles' time frame, if you will, in their rebuild. So the Pirates are going to be sending Pablo Reyes, Steven Brault, and Eric Gonzalez to the Orioles in exchange for Trey Mancini. All three of these guys are B potential players. None of them are super young. None of them are super highly touted, but maybe the Orioles can strike a gem in one of them. And then Mancini, his short time with the Pirates will come to an end as well. Him along with outfield prospect Chris Sharp and middle infielder Kevin Kramer are headed to the Cardinals in exchange for Dylan Carlson. So Carlson will become a member of the Pirate, and to make things clear, here's a little graphic. The players highlighted in yellow are coming from the Pirates. In red are coming from the Cardinals, which is just Carlson, and then Mancini coming from the Orioles. So Dylan Carlson is currently the only top 50 prospect for the Pirates, now sitting at the number 8 prospect in all of baseball, and obviously number 1 in the organization. So this trade set off a flurry of minor league moves, mainly sending a few guys up because of a few roster spots that were taken from a major league team. Guys like Brault, Kramer, and Gonzalez no longer on the squad. But for the most part, the starting lineup at least is pretty much going to be the same for the Pirates. And then for the pitching rotation, Derek Holland has been moved up. For right now, Robbie Erlin will remain as the lone reliever, but if we want to make a change there and move Erlin to the starting lineup, we will do that. So here's now a new look at the Double-A lineup. Really, the only prospect of note, I would say, is Mickey Moniak. And then the pitching rotation still got guys like Waddle and Domingo Robles there, along with a few other really good receivers. This Double-A bullpen is outstanding. Some of these ERA numbers are really good. And then the Triple-A lineup, we called up Travis Swaggerty, and then the big three of Brian Hayes, Dylan Carlson, and O'Neill Cruz, all three of whom have a potential, not to mention Tim Tebow, who was acquired at the end of last episode, and then the rotation, for the most part, is the same outside of losing Derek Holland, who is now with the Major League team. So now it's time to start talking about the draft. There are a bunch of blueprint prospects in this draft. In most draft classes, I would say there are about 10 blue-chip players. In this class, there were maybe 25. I mean, this is one of the best draft classes I have seen in a long time, and the Pirates have to capitalize with getting some really, really good players in this class. Pittsburgh has the 7th pick in the draft, so they're bound to get a great player. Now, it is a little bit fishy that everybody who is scouted to the max is a blueprint. I don't know how certain that is, but a lot of these guys do look really good. All of them have 80 potential, obviously, and there are some monsters in here. A few players who, as I scroll through here, I'm really eyeing up as a potential star for this Pirates team. There are also some interesting players down the line. Obviously, here's a look at all your blue chips. Usually, as I said, there are about 10. Today, there's 25. And after the first round, it is a crapshoot. So what I look for in non-first round picks are guys who are scouted in the yellow, guys who are young, so I'm looking for 18, 19-year-olds rather than 22-year-olds, and I'm looking for guys who have high potential. I don't really care about immediate impact. I'd rather pick a guy with 80 potential who's a 50 overall, but a guy with 65 potential who's a 70 overall. After simulating about a day forward, we have now hit the 2020 Major League Baseball Amateur Draft. Keep in mind, we could be drafting future channel legends right now. Andy Vina, a right fielder, goes number 1 to the Detroit Tigers, and here we are on the board at 7. And as I said earlier, usually we're choosing between 3 or 4 blue chips, and usually most of those guys are closers. So the fact that we get to choose literally between about 15 players gives this team a lot of options. And after going through all of the blue chip prospects, we are down to 3. The first one is first base prospect Ron Hogue. Hogue is a 19-year-old from Canada. He has a great bat, phenomenal contact as well as power. He's going to provide good defense. And the thing with him is not only is there a ton of potential, but he's really good right away. Someone who could be called up probably as soon as the middle of next year. Unfortunately, he cannot play any other positions, which is kind of a big deal because Josh Bell is set at first base. Bell can play in the corner outfield spots, though, which is good. The next player we're looking at is third baseman Cy Muser from Alabama. Muser is very raw and has an MLB ETA later than 2024, but the upside is certainly there with him, and he might have the highest ceiling out of any position player in the draft. And then the last guy is starting pitcher Santiago Osuna from the Dominican Republic. Osuna provides a lot of things you want in a starting pitcher. Stamina, walks per 9, and velocity. Walks per 9 is important because for whatever reason, that stat is really important in MLB The Show Sim. Osuna is only 18 years old. He has a four-seam fastball, curveball, cutter, and changeup. So that's a very good repertoire of pitches for a young guy in Osuna. So after a lot of heavy consideration in deciding with the 7th pick in the 2020 Major League Baseball Amateur Draft, the Pittsburgh Pirates select Santiago Osuna, an 18-year-old right-handed pitcher from the Dominican Republic. Osuna is raw and has a lot of potential, but with an MLB ETA of 2023, he's not overly raw where he's going to be in the 40s and has too much developing to do. So now in the second round, at this point, it is a crapshoot. No more blue chip prospects left, obviously. We're just trying to find guys who, as I said, we've done a lot of scouting on, are young, and have potential. And if a player fits all 3 of those attributes, we're going to pick him. So look at this guy right here, Benny Ling from Japan. Maximum contact and power on both sides of the plate. Great defense. The only thing he doesn't provide is speed. And as a first baseman, I'm not asking you to steal 20 bags this season. Only 18 years old from Japan, an MLB ETA of 2021. This guy provides you with pretty much all the things you want. Now, he might be a little bit too good to be true, but I think it's worth a flyer. And then a competitive balance round B selection, basically an extra pick. This might be for like the Starling Marte trade or something, if I had to guess. And the selection will be Brian Ayala, MLB ETA of 2022, maximum velocity, stamina, walks per 9, provides you 5 pitches, only 19 years old, from Brazil. So the Pirates are really going international here, drafting players from the Dominican, Japan, and Brazil. The first American the Pirates will be drafting is third baseman Wendell Vincent here in the 3rd round. Vincent is very raw, but has upside. He has a solid bat, good arm strength, good defense. So while he's not going to be great for a while, he's extremely raw, but the potential is there. Another raw player with upside is an outfield prospect by the name of Sean Bush. Only 18 years old from Texas. He's 6'4", built like a wide receiver with his athleticism and speed, and has potential at the plate. Now on to the 5th round. I was deciding between 2 players, but we're going to go with Sean Humber, a first base prospect from California. This is a guy who doesn't have as much potential, but is someone who could be good right away. And with that arm strength and arm accuracy, I think rather than at first base, I think third base makes more sense for him. So Sean Humber will be drafted here to the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 5th round. And the other player that I was considering was a relief pitcher. Unfortunately, he would go here to the Angels, Abraham Herman. So at this point in round 6, the final round, is just anyone's guess. The Pirates are going to select second baseman Michael Lowry from New York. He is 22, but there aren't a whole lot of great prospects left. He provides a good bat, good defense, and good speed. Does not have a lot of potential, but could be good right away. So that'll do it here for the 2020 Major League Baseball Amateur Draft. And now the moment of truth. We got to see how good these players are. And bang! Santiago Osuna, 64 overall with 98 potential. Wow. At only 18 years old, this is probably the best player in the entire draft class. And the rest of the draft doesn't look too bad either. In round 2, Benny Ling, 82 potential, but 73 overall already. And he is a really good bat to start. So this is a guy who could enter the Major League realm pretty quickly. Round 3, or competitive round B, I don't know. Brian Ayala, 78 potential. Not great. Wendell Vincent, 79 potential, 44 overall. He is very raw. Sean Bush here doesn't look too bad, only 48 overall, but 86 potential. That is quite high for, a 4th-round pick? Round 5, Sean Humber, 71 overall, only 70 potential, though, so he's not going to get a whole lot better. And then in the 6th, Michael Lowry, 67 overall with 67 potential, so he won't get a whole lot better either. But still, got to be really happy with this draft. Looking around the rest of the league, Cesar Vesperas, 96 potential, but 38 overall. I didn't know you could be that bad. John Jones, a 74 overall closer. This is the highest-rated player in the entire class with 91 potential, going to the Rays. Patrick Magana, nice dreadlocks, so that's a win in my book, going to the Toronto Blue Jays. Cy Muser, one of the players we were considering at pick 7, he goes to the White Sox, and he's pretty darn good himself. 53 overall, but he also has 98 potential, which is tied for the highest potential in this class with, obviously, Santiago Osuna. The next player we're going to be looking at is the top pick in the draft, Andy Vina. Only 52 overall, but 94 potential. So while the Tigers didn't draft the best player on the board, I don't think they're complaining with Vina whatsoever. The Angels drafted that reliever I was thinking about late, Abraham Herman, and it looks like I should have picked him. 61 overall with 88 potential. I was pretty bummed to see him this good. I would have picked him in the 6th round if he was available. And obviously, looking at hindsight, I should have picked him a lot earlier. So certainly a late-round gem for them. The Braves picked, they were the only team with multiple A potential players. Gregorio Rodriguez in the 1st round, and then their next pick, Luis Camacho, 54 overall with 96 potential. He is likely the steal of the draft. So the Braves, they might be your biggest draft winners. The Mets found themselves Joey Gallo Jr. and Danny Kell. Doesn't provide a whole lot, but has pop off the bat, and he does have a lot of potential, so he could grow into more of a well-rounded player. Ron Hogue, the other player we were considering, he looks really darn good too. 73 overall with 91 potential, going to the Padres. One hell of a bat already. Really seems like our scouting department did something right. The 3 players who we were really interested in look like the 3 best players in this draft. And then looking at our division, the Cubs drafted a first baseman, Brian Startup, who's very raw, but also pretty good. And then the only other player with A or B potential was their final pick, reliever Cesar Castro, who's only at 58 overall. The Reds drafted a second baseman, Brian Saldana, who has 91 potential. And their last pick is a gem as well, Art Dionis, 55 overall with 89 potential. Then looking at the Brewers, a reliever in round 1, Taylor Whalen. They had a great draft. Their next pick, Alejandro Villarreal, 87 potential. Then Juan Rubio, 86 potential. And their last pick, Jackson Briggs, also has 86 potential. What's with these teams hitting slam dunks in the 6th round? The Cardinals drafted an 8 potential reliever. They did not end up, however, with a late-round gem, however. So, good to see that we weren't the only ones in that boat. I recorded 2 games, one against the Giants, one against the Rockies here. However, the video would just be way too long. So, we're only showing one. Figured I'd show the more entertaining game, which ended up being this one in Colorado at Coors Field against the Rockies. And I purposely chose the game where both teams were trotting on their worst starters just so we could have a lot of runs. And boy, was I right. Jeff Hoffman on the mound for Colorado. He's actually been good this year. Sub-3 ERA. Just his rating was really low. I figured the Pirates would be able to hit off him pretty well. As here's Adam Frazier with one gone in the top of the 1st. Shop and gap for extra bases. Big game in this one for Frazier, a career day at the plate for him as he does slide into second safely. He was thinking three, but decided not to. The inning would end, however, with a Gregory Polanco strikeout as we move to the bottom of the first. Derek Holland on the mound in this one for Pittsburgh. And his first two starts of the year, 0-1 for 5.79 ERA. And things will get ugly quickly as Garrett Hampson sliding into third off of the single from Charlie Blackmon. So runners on the corners, one out for Nolan Arenado, the MVP favorite in the National League. He's going to draw a walk. And then that'll bring up David Dahl, single into left, run scores. Rockies lead it 1-0, but this is just the start. Next batter, Trevor Story, who is second in the NL MVP voting. That one goes deep into left. Fittingly, third place in the NL voting is Josh Bell, all three of whom obviously playing in this game. And the Rockies and Pirates, believe it or not, are both bad teams. So it's kind of weird to see the top MVP candidates all on bad teams. As here's a weak hit. That'll score a run. Rockies now up 4-0. But this inning isn't over. Even the pitcher, Jeff Hoffman, getting in on the fun. Run scores. Colorado leads it 5-0. We are still in the first inning, by the way. And the Rockies are just dominating. My over-under for runs in this game was 15. If you bet the over, you're looking good. Inning does end with a Hampson strikeout. As we move to the second, and the Pirates now going to start to join the fun. Here's Kevin Newman leading the inning off with a nice hit. Rounding second, digging for third. And Newman will start the inning off with a triple. So already the Pirates have the batter 90 feet away from home. And they're going to capitalize just like that as Colin Moran goes deep into right. His 6th home run of the campaign. And the Pirates have cut the lead down to 3. And then Brian Reynolds later in the inning going Oppo Popo as his 2-run homer will make it a 1-run game. As it is now 5-4. My over-under of 15. Yeah, you still should have picked the over, but we're not done. The next batter, Adam Frazier, goes deep into right center. And this game is tied up at 5 all of a sudden. Holy smokes, runs galore. This is Coors Field for you, ladies and gentlemen. And then Josh Bell, the home run streak will end, but the hit streak will not, as Bell, who has been dominant this season, hitting over 320, 17 home runs, 55 RBIs. What a season he has had up to this point. And then Gregory Polanco, that ball is going to be weakly hit. Inning over, but we're not even halfway through 2, and 10 runs have been scored combined. On to the bottom of the second, there's Chucky Blackboy, Charlie Blackmon, striking out. And then David Dahl as well going down on the third inning. Colin Moran, Swainer, as both pitchers starting to get into a little bit of a groove now. Here's Jeff Hoffman at the bottom of the third. 3-6-2 double play, almost. Nope. Hoffman was actually safe at first. Bad throw from Newman at short. And you want to know why? Right there. Dirty baseball from the catcher, Tony Walters, sliding right into the legs of Kevin Newman. That warrants a fine, maybe a suspension. And you know who else warrants a fine? Gregory Polanco for hitting the crap out of that baseball. And the Pirates are now up by 3. And Polanco, his 14th home run of the year, he has had a sneaky good season. He's played really well this past month. That would end the day for Hoffman. Scott Oberg into the game now for Colorado. Hoffman doesn't even last through 4, as Oberg would get through the inning pretty quickly. Colin Moran flying out into left. But still, Pittsburgh now up by 3 after the dinger from Gregory Polanco. On to the bottom of the fourth. Now the Rockies aren't done as they'll get the single from Nolan Arenado. Hampson will score, and it is now 8-6. Gotta wonder when Derek Holland is taken out, and the answer is right away. Robbie Erlin, the long reliever, into the game here for Pittsburgh, and his day would start off with a bang as he gets the strikeout of Story, but all the fun and games would come to an end pretty soon after. 3-run bomb into left center field, the home run for Daniel Murphy. Remember that over-under of 15 runs? Well, we're at a combined total of 17, not even done the 4th inning. On to the 5th, Robbie Erlin still in the game. He is pretty much the long reliever for the next few innings. He does strike out. That one goes in the dirt, but Walters is able to make the play. And here's the Double play, the Pirates are hoping for a 5-4-3 as Varenfield is more chemistry than a science project. Trevor Story goes down looking. And now let's move on to the 6th inning. Jake McGee into the game for Colorado as the Pirates are going to try to start this inning off with some fun as there's Brian Reynolds going to open up with a double. And then Adam Frazier, 4 for 4 up to that point with a single, triple shy of the cycle as Josh Bell, the next batter, will ground out, but Reynolds scores. This game is tied up at 9. I don't know why he looks so frustrated. As we move to the bottom of the 6th, Charlie Blackmon goes deep into left center, nearly identical to where Daniel Murphy hit his home run a couple innings prior. And the Rockies now lead at 10-9. There's Trevor Story striking out. He sort of had a quiet day as we move to the bottom of the 7th after the Pirates didn't do anything at the top of the inning as Kyle Crick in. He has had a disaster of a season, but he does get out of that one unscathed. Newman with the play at short. Let's move to the top of the 8th. Carlos Estevez into the game for the Rockies. 1.19 ERA. He's done really well as he strikes out Brian Reynolds. Josh Bell now up with 2 outs. He places that one perfectly in the left center gap, right between the left and center fielder, as he wanted to go 3, but that's going to cost him. He's gunned down at second, and Josh Bell will be out due to some aggressive base running. And with Polanco up next, one of the more dangerous hitters in the lineup, that could be bad. And the Rockies are going to try to put the nail in the coffin and the money in the grave, as that one would be a double scoring a run. And now it is 11-9. Rockies up by a comfortable 2 runs, trying to make that 3 runs here as Polanco, the play at the plate, is going to be in time. Nice throw from right by Polanco, and David Dahl is out at home. Let's move to the 9th inning now. James Pazos in for the save. Not a traditional closer, but in 5 save opportunities this year, he is a perfect 5 for 5. Pirates down to their last out. It's Colin Moran. Normally that'd be a single, but with the Gold Glover Nolan Arenado at third, you can just run him up right away. And the Rockies get the win by a score of 11-9. Even if the Pirates were lost, it was still a very fun and entertaining game, at least if you like hitting. And that other game I played and planned on having in the video, the Giants game, the Pirates ended up winning 5-2 in San Francisco. Chris Archer pitched in that one. So here's a look at the numbers. Big day for everybody. Frazier, Reynolds, Polanco, and Moran all go yard. Josh Bell played well because I am literally a cheat code with Josh Bell. I don't know why. I just do so well with him. I feel like I've hit, 4 or 5 home runs with him in the series, and I've only played like 5 or 6 games. The Rockies obviously didn't even do too much worse. Home runs for Blackmon and Murphy, multiple extra base hits for a bunch of guys, and the pitching was just really bad. Jeff Hoffman did not pitch well. Derek Holland did not pitch well, and that is how that game would end. So I did a little bit of simulating, only about a week. We go 0-4 in that span. The Tanks are looking locked and loaded. Officially dead last in the division, and we are bad. Looking at the numbers, Brian Reynolds not too shabby. Adam Frazier, pretty good. Josh Bell has still been great. Polanco, he has been very solid this year. And I think he's putting up all-star numbers. I mean, he could be a guy who we look to flip at the deadline, or he could be a guy who we consider building around long-term. Looking at his age, probably not. 28's a bit old, but we'll see. He's played really well this year. Kevin Newman's doing well. Moran's doing well. Osuna as well. Cole Tucker, not the best, but he's not a main starter. And then Jacob Stallings is doing good too. All 8 of our main starters, so everybody in that starting lineup other than Cole Tucker, is hitting over 250, which is quite impressive. And a lot of them are hitting for big power numbers too. Looking at the pitching, Chris Archer starting to pitch better after a slow start. Joe Musgrove is still incredible. Trevor Williams has been good. Mitch Keller, he's playing a little bit better. And then Derek Holland has been utter garbage. Might have to move Robbie Earl into that lone reliever, to that 5th starter spot, and Holland to the lone reliever role. Feliz, after a hot start's playing bad. Rodriguez has calmed down a little bit, but he's still pitching well. Manuel Clase has been below average, but he's only 22. Kyle Crick has obviously been really bad. This Cayano has been incredible. Sub 2 ERA, sorry. And then Keone Kela continues to be an absolute disaster. His ERA is now nearly 9. I wanted to get something for him at the deadline since he's an impending free agent. I don't know if we can get anything of value for him at this point. And then I wanted to look at a few of the important minor leaguers' numbers, mainly AAA, Brian Hayes, Dylan Carlson, and Oneil Cruz. None of them are putting up eye-popping numbers, but they're all doing solid. Most of those with Carlson were with St. Louis's AAA team, but you get the point. So that's all in the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. What are your thoughts on our draft? I would say I'm very happy with it. A grade for sure. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. Peace.